Do you need to be good at something before you're confident in it? What comes first? Confidence or competence? How do you become confident in something you're rubbish at? This episode of Let's Talk Confidence will dive into these questions and explore the confidence competence trap that stops you from taking meaningful action. Welcome to Let's Talk Confidence, the first and last place you need to go to build long-lasting confidence. I'm your host and coach, Josh Sutton. Please do give us a like and follow, review, and share it with someone who you know needs to hear this today, as that's the only way we can grow and benefit more people. We really appreciate it. Let's dive into today's episode. Most of us will not try something new because we fear we're going to fail at it. Have you ever wanted to try something, maybe a new hobby or sport or professional skill like public speaking, but felt held back because you didn't think you'd be very good? You thought, if I could just click my fingers and be really good at it, then I could easily develop the confidence to do it more often, and then that would be great. We'll be good to go. Good at it first, then I'll be confident, is how the thinking typically goes. I remember hearing the saxophone properly for the first time when I was about 17 and fell in love with it instantly, but secretly. See, I played metal guitar with my mates. I couldn't be faffing about with blowing into like a bent pipe, could I? The main reason I didn't try and learn, however, I didn't think I'd be very good. My parents already tolerated heavily distorted guitar blaring out from my bedroom, but at least I could kind of play. I'm not sure they had the patience for death by woodwind instruments. So I secretly knocked it on the head whilst also vowing to one day maybe practice in secret and be able to play it. Fast forward almost 15 years, I'd still never bought or played a saxophone. I'd had a few conversations, I'd watched some YouTube videos in secret, but nothing concrete. And I realised that unless I actually bought the damn thing, I was never going to learn to play. And my dream would die along with me, all because of a fear of not being good enough to play. So I went and bought a saxophone and I played it and I sucked really badly. I played it a bit more and I still sucked. But I remember a day where I made a recording of myself and played it back, and whilst in my head it was still pretty bad, I realised that in about 6 months I'd got to a standard that was nothing to write home about, yet would have shocked the version of me from 6 months ago if I could watch myself playing like this. 6 months ago I could barely get a note out of it, and now I'm starting to get there. My competency grew, and so did my confidence. What I question now is why it took me almost 15 years for me to have a go at it. 15 years wasted, all because I didn't think I'd be very good. We do this again and again and again. We quietly put off our hopes and dreams because we've convinced ourselves that we're not quite ready yet. The course we never enroll on, the dream business idea that stays as a note in our phone, the conversation we keep meaning to have. Every time we delay, our confidence takes a hit. Not because we failed, but because we didn't even give ourselves the chance. See, I live by a mantra that fear will kill more of your dreams than failure ever could. That skill you want to develop, that hobby you want to take up, that business idea that you want to start, that person you want to ask out, all killed off, not the person, the dream, because you use this wonderful gift of visualization to scare yourself out of it. But wanting to be good at something before you give it a go, it's understandable. Like, where do you even begin if you don't have basic knowledge? Yet you also want to be confident in it before you begin. Otherwise, you quite frankly don't know where to start and you risk looking foolish. What you can end up falling into, however, is what I call the confidence competence cycle trap. A chicken and egg situation where you believe you need confidence to start something new, but you only get confidence once you become good at something or competent at it, which you won't be at the beginning. So you quite simply don't start it, and this cycle goes on. This is where your dreams go to die. You secretly long about pursuing that career path or joining that club or developing that skill, while sabotaging your own efforts to do so because in your mind you aren't either confident or competent in it yet. It's what stopped me from playing the saxophone for the best part of 2 decades. It's what stops people starting businesses or relationships or pursuing great ideas. Perhaps it's stopping you from a dream too. But confidence isn't a destination you arrive at once you've mastered the skill. It's the courage to step into the arena when your hands are still shaking. It's like standing on a diving board for the first time. You can read all the tips you like about posture and angles, but the real learning only happens once you jump. So how do we overcome it? How do you break this confidence competence trap? The truth is, this trap is subtle. It doesn't scream failure in your face. It whispers, maybe later, not yet, you're not quite ready. It's dressed up as logic, caution, even wisdom. But it's fear in disguise, quietly eroding your potential one hesitation at a time. Okay, let's answer the chicken and egg question first though. Is it confidence or competence that comes first? If you Google this problem, you'll likely get an answer that says competence comes first. You have to be good at something for you to build long-term confidence in it. I disagree though. See, competence is built by 2 things. How do you get good at something? Failure and sleep. Weren't expecting those 2 things, were you? But you only learn something by getting it wrong and adjusting and correcting for next time. And all of your learning is consolidated when you sleep. Let's park those 2 for now and take a slightly different tack by saying that competence is built when you have a go, when you try, when you pick up the microphone, the racket, the instrument, the drawing pencil, and have a go. For you to do that, however, you do need a degree of confidence, but here's the kicker. Not in your ability of the thing you're having a go at, but in yourself. Confidence in yourself is the foundational plate that you build everything else out from. The confidence to back yourself, to be curious about new things, to try new things, to care far more about potentially missing out on life than what other people might think of you for having a go. Once you develop this kind of mindset, everything else becomes possible. You'll give things a go, knowing you'll suck to begin with, but enjoying the journey anyway. It's a beautiful mindset to have, the lack of which cost me, and probably is costing you, years of enjoyment and progress in the areas that you care about. And see, once you've tried and failed at something a few times, you'll develop a basic level of competency, which, when you then compare it to where you started, gives you the confidence in the progress you've made. And then the cycle becomes a positive one, gaining more confidence as your competence increases. So, how do we get started on this then? I'm going to give you 3 tips to help you get started on this journey. Number 1, and it's a practical one, and if I'm honest, we're going to do a bit of ethical cheating here. That's okay. Because whilst you might not have any competence in the skill you're trying to build, you can get some background information, some background knowledge that will give you a head start. The internet can be full of some pretty dark things, but it's also home to an unbelievable amount of knowledge. Want to know how to build a house out of chewing gum? There's a video for that. Want to know the right mixture of lettuce to feed your pet tortoise? There's an article on that. I recently built my own computer from scratch. I'm not a computer technician. How did I do it? Well, I used the internet to research all the parts and then a YouTube video to put it all together, which just blows my mind. 30 years ago, only highly paid computer technicians could do that. I did it in the kitchen, pretty much in my pajamas. About a year ago, I learned to ride a motorbike. I haven't touched one since. That's another story. I had a day of training for the first part of the training, the CBT. And the day before it, I watched a few hours of basic motorbike riding skills. Does that mean I turned up as an expert, as a professional rider the next day? Absolutely not. But it meant at least I had a few pieces of knowledge to go off. I had like the very basic building blocks that I could work with. The most important thing in all of that was that I backed myself to have a go and book the training in the first place. But the little bit of knowledge I gained the day before was helpful. There is a danger with this though, where you stay stuck here and never move on. Well, if I just learn about this, then I'll be ready to have a go. I'm just going to research this, and once I've learned that and done that course, then I'll be ready. Which moves us on to tip number 2. You build confidence and competence through doing. Not studying, not listening, not by writing notes, but by doing. Don't fall into the trap of staying safe in the shadows of knowledge rather than the messiness of doing. The person that has no knowledge but gets stuck into the doing will be infinitely more competent and confident than the armchair master who's read everything there is to know but has never stepped foot in the arena of trying. It's an exceptionally easy trap to fall into, but in my experience, failing forward is far more effective than watching another video, reading another book, or indeed listening to another podcast. Third tip, don't do it alone. If you want to get better at something and are actually serious about improving in it, then an investment in yourself will more than pay for the cost in the long run. That might be content-specific knowledge or a coach that helps keep you on track. I know I'm biased as a life coach, but honestly, I've worked with people where I've taken years off their own timescales to achieve a goal, which they've said themselves is very difficult to put a price on. I've had coaches that I've worked with do the same thing for me, keeping me accountable, expanding my perspective so that I can pursue and achieve goals that I didn't even think were possible or have taken years off what I thought it would originally take. Because if it's worth doing properly. It's worth shortcutting the time it takes to learn it. It took me 6 months to get any kind of decent tune out of a saxophone. I could have done it in 6 weeks if I'd paid for a tutor. It could have taken me 10 years to learn how to be a great coach. It took me about a year with a dedicated blitz of courses, books, coaches, and mentors. Use people who are trained to shave or really slash time of how long it takes to get really competent at something. Don't get stuck in the competence trap. You'll only be confident in your abilities once you've built up some competence and skill. You're only going to build up competence and skill once you give it a go. And you're only going to give something a go if you adopt the mindset that is curious, unafraid of failure, and invests in yourself to make progress in the areas of your life that you care about and are important to you. Because confidence isn't about being the best in the room. It's about being brave enough to walk into the room in the first place. Every skill, every goal, every dream starts with a clumsy first step. The confident aren't born different. They're just the ones who took that first step sooner and refused to let excuses get in the way. That's all for today. If you want to find out more about teaming up with me as your coach to help supercharge your own confidence and give you the mindset that few others possess, then head to joshsuttoncoaching.com and we can have a conversation. I'm your coach, Josh Sutton. Let's talk confidence.